When someone genuinely cares, it often goes unnoticed. It's easy to assume that the kind words, the thoughtful gestures, and the constant support will always be there. People become accustomed to it, sometimes even expecting it, but without a second thought. But what happens when that care is no longer present? What happens when the person who was always there, checking in, listening, and giving their time suddenly stops? That's when reality hits, and the absence of that care is felt in a way that words cannot describe. We live in a world where people are quick to overlook what they have until it's gone. When someone constantly makes an effort, it creates an illusion that they always will. There is a tendency to believe that a person's kindness is infinite, that their patience will never run out, and that no matter how much they are taken for granted, they will continue to show up. But that's not how human emotions work. Even the kindest hearts have limits. Own have limits. Even the most patient people reach a point where they no longer wish to be ignored, dismissed, or taken lightly. Many times, people confuse consistency with obligation. When someone checks up on them, listens to their problems, stands by them through difficult times, they assume it's something that person is supposed to do, rather than something they choose to do out of care. This misconception is why appreciation fades, and neglect takes its place. The irony is, once that care is withdrawn, once the good morning texts stop, once the reassuring words are no longer heard, only then does the void become visible. The silence left behind speaks louder than anything else. It's a sad reality that people often realize the importance of someone's presence only after they've left. They remember the warmth of the conversations, the comfort in knowing someone genuinely cared, and the security in having that person by their side. It is only in their absence that the true weight of their care is felt. Regret begins to set in, and suddenly they wish they had valued that person more when they had the chance. But care should never be something people learn to appreciate only in hindsight. It should not take someone's absence to recognize their worth. Genuine care is a gift, and those who receive it should acknowledge it while it's still there. If someone constantly puts in the effort to check on you, to support you, and to be there for you, it's important to let them know they matter. Because one day, if they stop, the silence they leave behind will be deafening. There is something deeply human about wanting to be acknowledged, especially when we invest our time, energy, and emotions into someone. When we genuinely care for others, we do so without expecting anything in return. Yet deep down, a part of us hopes to be seen, valued, and appreciated. But the reality is, not everyone recognizes the efforts we make while we are making them. Sometimes, people are too caught up in their own world to notice the love and attention they receive. It is only in our absence that they begin to understand just how much we meant to them. When you constantly show up for someone, whether it's through small gestures, words of encouragement, or simply being there when they need you, it creates a sense of reliability. They become accustomed to your presence, assuming that you will always be there, no matter what. They don't necessarily mean to take you for granted, but familiarity often leads to complacency. The good morning messages, the late night talks, the moments of support, they all start to blend into the background, becoming something expected rather than appreciated. Over time, this can be exhausting. Giving and giving without receiving any acknowledgement can leave a person feeling empty. It's not that we want grand gestures or constant praise, but a simple thank you, a moment of recognition, or even a little reciprocation can go a long way. When that doesn't happen, it creates a sense of emotional fatigue, making us question whether our care is even worth it. Eventually, a time comes when we decide to step back, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. And that is when things change. The moment we stop reaching out, the moment our presence fades, the absence becomes noticeable. The person who once ignored our efforts begins to realize what they've lost. They suddenly remember the good morning messages that no longer come, the late night conversations that have gone silent, and the unwavering support that has disappeared. It is in this moment of loss that they recognize the depth of the care they once had but didn't fully appreciate. Regret is a powerful emotion. It makes people look back and wish they had done things differently. They think about the times they could have responded with kindness, the times they could have shown gratitude, and the times they could have made an effort in return. But by the time they reach this realization, it is often too late. The person who once cared deeply has learned to walk away, not because they stopped caring, but because they realized they deserve better. At the end of the day, true care should never be something that is valued only in its absence. It should be cherished while it is still present. If someone cares about you, acknowledge them. If someone makes an effort for you, appreciate them. Because once they are gone, no amount of regret can bring them back. There comes a point in life when we realize that not everyone will reciprocate the energy, love, and effort we give them. We might go above and beyond for certain people, making sacrifices, showing up when they need us, and putting their happiness before our own. But despite everything we do, some people fail to notice, appreciate, or value our presence. It is a difficult truth to accept, but it is one that teaches us an important lesson. We cannot force people to care in the same way we do. When we genuinely care about someone, we don't keep a record of our actions. We don't help them because we expect something in return. We do it because it's in our nature. However, the painful reality is that some people become comfortable receiving without giving. They assume our kindness will always be there, that we will always be available, and that our patience will never run out. They fail to recognize that even the strongest hearts can grow tired. The most frustrating part of this experience is that we often question ourselves. We wonder if we are expecting too much, if we are being unreasonable, or if we are simply too sensitive. But deep down, we know the truth. Genuine relationships, whether friendships, family bonds, or romantic connections, should never feel one-sided. The moment we start feeling like we are the only ones making an effort, it becomes clear that something is missing. Sometimes we hold on to these relationships, hoping that things will change. We convince ourselves that if we just give it a little more time, if we just show a little more patience, or if we just try a little harder, they will finally realize our worth. But more often than not, that moment never comes. Instead, we continue pouring from an empty cup, depleting ourselves in the process. At some point, we have to recognize that not everyone deserves the love and energy we give so freely. Walking away doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we have learned to care about ourselves too. It means understanding that our work is not defined by how much we do for others, but by how much we respect ourselves. The people who truly appreciate us will never make us feel like we are begging for their time or attention. They will see our efforts, value our presence, and reciprocate our care without us having to ask. And those are the relationships worth holding on to. There comes a time when we realize that we cannot keep chasing after people who don't see our worth. No matter how much we care, no matter how much we give, and no matter how much we try to prove ourselves, some people will simply never appreciate us. And that's not a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of what they choose to see. It's a painful truth, but it is one that sets us free the moment we accept it. It is natural to want to be valued by those we care about. We invest our time, emotions, and energy into relationships, believing that our kindness and efforts will be acknowledged. Yes. But the reality is, some people take us for granted. They become so accustomed to our presence that they assume we will always be there, no matter how they treat us. They do not see our silent struggles, our unspoken sacrifices, or the times we put them before ourselves. The hardest part of this realization is understanding that we cannot force someone to appreciate us. We cannot make them see our worth if they choose to be blind to it. We cannot make them feel our absence if they never truly valued our presence. And we cannot keep hurting ourselves trying to prove something to people who are not even paying attention. The moment we stop seeking validation from others is the moment we reclaim our power. We no longer wait for someone to recognize our efforts because we learn to recognize them ourselves. We no longer waste energy on people who do not care because we understand that our love and kindness should be given to those who truly deserve it. And we no longer feel the need to prove our worth because we already know it within ourselves. This realization is not easy. It often comes after moments of deep disappointment, heartbreak, and frustration. But it is in these moments that we grow. We start to see who truly values us and who only keeps us around for their convenience. We begin to understand that being kind does not mean allowing ourselves to be used. And we learn that walking away from people who do not appreciate us is not a loss, it is a gain. One day, those who ignored us, took us for granted, and dismissed our kindness will look back and realize what they lost. They will remember the moments we were there for them when no one else was. No one else. They will recall the times we supported them when they had nothing to offer in return. And they will miss the love, patience, and care that we gave so freely. But by then, it will be too late, because we will have already moved forward, giving our energy to people who truly appreciate it. That's easy. There comes a moment in life when we realize that no matter how much we care for someone, we cannot make them appreciate us. We cannot make them see the depth of our love, the sincerity of our actions, or the patience we've shown them time and time again. We give, we sacrifice, we show up when no one else does. But sometimes, all of that is overlooked. Not because we are not worthy, but because some people do not know how to value something until it's gone. It's painful to be ignored, to feel like our presence or absence makes no difference in someone's life. We wonder what else we could do, what more we could give, or how we could prove our importance to them. But the truth is, if someone does not recognize our worth now, they likely never will. At least, not until we stop trying. As long as we continue to be available, they will continue to take us for granted. As long as we continue to give, they will continue to receive without realizing the effort behind it. The sad reality is that some people only understand the value of something once it's missing. They only notice the warmth when the cold sets in. They only miss kindness when they're met with indifference. They only long for the presence of someone who truly cared when they find themselves surrounded by those who do not. And by then, it is no longer our burden to bear. We spend so much time waiting for appreciation, hoping that one day they will see us the way we see them. We convince ourselves that if we hold on just a little longer, they might change, they might care, they might finally acknowledge the love we have given. But waiting for someone to value us the way we deserve is like waiting for rain in a drought. It may never come. And in the meantime, we are left exhausted and drained. That is why the best thing we can do is shift our energy. Please shift our energy. Instead of waiting for people to recognize our worth, we must recognize it ourselves. Instead of feeling hurt by their indifference, we must remind ourselves that our kindness, love, and loyalty should not be wasted on those who do not appreciate them. We must redirect our attention toward those who reciprocate, who uplift us, and who see us without us having to prove anything. When we finally walk away from those who overlooked us, they will feel the emptiness we once tried to fill in their lives. They will remember the times we stood by them when no one else did. They will recall the conversations where we gave them advice, comfort, and support without expecting anything in return. They will realize that what they once had was rare and they let it slip away. But by then, we will have already found peace in knowing that we gave our best, and that was enough. There comes a time when people finally understand the difference between real and temporary. They begin to see who truly cared for them and who was only there for convenience. But often that realization comes too late. When they had someone who constantly checked in, who remembered the little details, who put in the effort to make them feel important, they didn't think much of it. They assumed it was normal, that the attention and love they received would always be there. They didn't realize that genuine care is rare, and once lost, it's not easily replaced. At first, they might not notice your absence. They might go on with their life as if nothing changed, believing that your kindness, your patience, and your presence were just minor parts of their world. But then, something shifts. The moments where they once expected you to be there start feeling empty. The good morning texts that once brightened their day are gone. The random check-ins, the words of encouragement, the unwavering support, all of it disappears. Slowly, they start to realize that something is missing. They may try to brush it off, convincing themselves that it doesn't matter, that they don't need you. But deep down, they begin to feel the void. They find themselves in situations where they once would have turned to you, but now they have no one to call. The reassurance they used to take for granted is no longer there. The loyalty they never acknowledged is now just a memory. It's in those moments of silence, those moments of reflection, that the weight of their loss begins to sink in. Life has a way of teaching people lessons in unexpected ways. Sometimes, people only realize how much someone meant to them when they meet others who don't care the same way. Somewhat. They might encounter friendships or relationships that are shallow, where no one makes the effort the way you did. They might face struggles where they suddenly wish they had someone like you by their side. And when they finally recognize what they lost, they will wish they could turn back time and time. But by then, it will be too late. The saddest part is that when they come to this realization, they will think about all the moments they ignored you, all the times they dismissed your kindness, and all the times they assumed you would always be there. Regret will creep in, but regret does not bring back what is lost. They may reach out, hoping for a second chance, but by then, you will have moved on. Because when you give your heart to someone and they don't value it, eventually, you learn to protect yourself. And that is the beauty of growth. When you stop waiting for people to appreciate you and start valuing yourself, you break free from the cycle of disappointment. You no longer hold on to the hope that they will change, because you realize that your worth is not dependent on their recognition. You learn that your energy is too precious to be wasted on those who only realize your value when you're gone. So, let them miss you. Let them sit with their regret. Let them wish they had treated you better. Because at the end of the day, the person who truly benefits from your love, kindness, and care should be you first.